conducting a transparent and competitive recruitment process. B, subjecting potential applicants for county jobs to public humiliation by converting the crowd at the public rally as the advertising, recruiting, shortlisting, and appointing authority. And C, usurping and trashing exclusive constitutional and statutory mandates under functions of the Meru County Public Service Board. Ground 3, roadside appointment of county workers at Nkobo. On or around 9 September 2022, the governor engaged in 1, gross misconduct, 2, gross violation of 1, Articles 10, 232, 235, and 236 of the Constitution, and 3, gross violation of Sections 55, 59, 59A, 60, 62, 63, 64, and 65 of the County Governments Act by A, appointing market guards at a public rally at Nkobo in misguided and sustainable populism before conducting a transparent and competitive recruitment process, and B, usurping the exclusive constitutional and statutory mandates of the Meru County Public Service Board. Ground number 4, roadside appointment of county workers at Kianjai. On or around 9 September 2022, the governor engaged in 1, gross misconduct, 2, gross violation of Articles 10, 232, 235, and 236 of the Constitution, and 3, gross violation of Sections 55, 59, 59A, 60, 62, 63, 64, and 65 of the County Governments Act by A, illegally directing ward and sub-county administrators to employ sweepers and market guards at a public rally in Kianjai in misguided and sustainable populism before conducting a transparent and competitive recruitment process, and B, directing ward and sub-county administrators to usurp exclusive constitutional and statutory functions and mandates of the Meru County Public Service Board. Ground 5, illegal committee on the Meru municipality. On or around 21st October 2022, the governor 1, grossly violated Articles 10, 232, 235, and 236 of the Constitution. 2, grossly violated Sections 12, 14, 15, and 20 of the Urban Areas and Cities Act. And 3, grossly violated the charter establishing Meru Municipality by A, illegally appointing a committee to manage Meru municipality affairs at a public rally at Kinoru, yet the function is vested in the Meru Municipality Board. B, directing the aforesaid illegal committee to usurp the functions of the Meru Municipal Board. C, usurping the functions of the Meru County Public Service Board. And D, trashing the procedures for the appointment of county public officers. And E, spewing hate speech against the G4S company. Honorable Governor, for first charge, you plead guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
Charge number 2, incitement, bullying, vilification, and misleading campaigns against other leaders.
Not guilty.
Not yet?
Not guilty.
Governor, just hold. I'll alert you when to plead. So, charge number 2, incitement, bullying, vilification, and misleading campaigns against other leaders. The governor has 1, grossly violated Articles 10, 73, and 75 of the Constitution. 2, grossly violated Section 19 of the Public Officer Ethics Act. 3, grossly violated Sections 29 and 34 of the Leadership and Integrity Act. And 4, repeatedly engaged in gross misconduct by A, holding public vilification, incitement, and humiliation rallies against members of the County Assembly and other elected leaders. B, falsely accusing members of the Assembly and other elected leaders of cartelism, blackmail, greed, corruption, and intimidation. C, holding public vilification, incitement, and humiliation rallies against the Catholic Church and the Catholic clergy. And D, inciting the public against members of the Assembly and other elected leaders while knowing that such conduct can easily trigger violent reactions and cause serious breaches of the peace. Ground number 2, humiliation of the minority leader. On or about 24th October 2022, the Governor, 1, grossly violated Articles 10, 73, and 75 of the Constitution. 2, grossly violated Section 19 of the Public Officer Ethics Act. 3, grossly violated Sections 29 and 34 of the Leadership and Integrity Act. And 4, engage in gross misconduct by A, bullying and inciting the public against the minority leader and the member of Assembly for Akithi Ward, Honorable Mwenda Ithili, the minority leader, at a public rally held at Mwerenkanga. B, requiring the minority leader to make a public apology for unknown and undisclosed wrongs at the public rally held at Mwerenkanga. C, violently grabbing a microphone from the minority leader at the public rally held at Mwerenkanga. D, offering to protect the minority leader against the Speaker of the Assembly from unknown and undisclosed dangers. And E, falsely accusing the members of the Assembly and other elected leaders of cartelism, blackmail, greed, corruption, and intimidation. Ground 3 of Charge 2, vilification of the minority chief whip and other leaders. On or around 25th October 2022, the Governor, 1, grossly violated Articles 10, 73, and 75 of the Constitution. 2, grossly violated Section 19 of the Public Officer Ethics Act. 3, grossly violated Sections 29 and 34 of the Leadership and Integrity Act. And 4, engage in gross misconduct by A, inciting the public against the minority whip and the member of Assembly for Abogeta West Ward, Honorable Dennis Kiogora, DMK, the minority whip, at a public rally held at Ngogo in Abogeta West Ward. B, falsely accusing the minority whip of stoning her. And C, falsely accusing the members of the Assembly and other elected leaders of cartelism, blackmail, greed, corruption, and intimidation. Ground 4 of Charge 2, vilification of the Senator of Meru County. On or around 12 September 2022, the Governor, 1, grossly violated Articles 10, 73, and 75 of the Constitution. 2, grossly violated Section 19 of the Public Officer Ethics Act. 3, grossly violated Sections 29 and 34 of the Leadership and Integrity Act. And 4, engage in gross misconduct by A, inciting the public against the Senator of Meru County, Honorable Kathuri Murungi, the Senator, at a public rally held at Lare in Tunene Ward. B, falsely accusing the Senator of demanding a share of county government appointments. C, falsely accusing the Senator of antagonizing and creating a wedge between the Governor and the President of the Republic of Kenya. D, falsely accusing the Senator of cartelism, blackmail, greed, corruption, and intimidation. Ground 5 of Charge 2, vilification of the Cabinet Secretary for Agriculture. On or around 12 September 2022, the Governor, 1, grossly violated Articles 10, 73, and 75 of the Constitution. 2, grossly violated Section 19 of the Public Officer Ethics Act. 3, grossly violated sections 29 and 34 of the Leadership and Integrity Act, and 4, engaged in gross misconduct by A, bullying and inciting the public against the Cabinet Secretary for Agriculture, Honorable Franklin Mithika Linturi, the Cabinet Secretary, at a public rally held at Lare in Tunene Ward. B, falsely accusing the Cabinet Secretary of demanding a share of the county government appointments. C, falsely accusing the Cabinet Secretary of antagonizing and creating a wedge between the Governor and the President of the Republic of Kenya. And D, falsely accusing the Cabinet Secretary of cartelism, blackmail, greed, corruption, and intimidation. Ground 6 of Count 2, on or around the 9th November 2022, or rather vilification of the MP for Tigania East constituency. On or around the 9th November 2022, the Governor and her husband, 1, grossly violated Articles 10, 73, and 75 of the Constitution. 2, grossly violated Section 19 of the Public Officer Ethics Act. 3, grossly violated Sections 29 and 34 of the Leadership and Integrity Act. And 4, engaged in gross misconduct by A, inciting the public against the Member of Parliament for Tigania East constituency, Honorable Mpuri Aburi, the MP for Tigania East, at a public rally held at Mbaranga in Karama Ward. B, falsely accusing the MP for Tigania East of demanding that the Governor appoint the MP's wife as a county executive committee member. C, falsely accusing the MP for Tigania East of demanding that the Governor pre-qualifies his 12 companies for the award of county tenders. D, falsely accusing the MP for Tigania East of presenting fake pending bills for payment by the county government. And E, falsely accusing the MP for Tigania East of cartelism, blackmail, greed, corruption, and intimidation. Count 7 of Charge 2, vilification of the Catholic Church and clergy. On or around 17th October 2022, the Governor, 1, grossly violated Articles 10, 73, and 75 of the Constitution. 2, grossly violated Section 19 of the Public Officer Ethics Act. 3, grossly violated Sections 29 and 34 of the Leadership and Integrity Act. And 4, engaged in gross misconduct by A, inciting the public against the Roman Catholic Church and the Bishop of the Catholic Diocese of Meru, Mr. Celestius Mugambi, at a public rally held at the former Igoji Boys Secondary School. B, falsely accusing the Catholic Church of grabbing public land. C, falsely accusing the Catholic Church of cartelism, blackmail, greed, corruption, and intimidation. D, conducting a mock public prayer to demean and humiliate the Catholic Church and Catholic clergy. And E, inciting the public against religious leaders while knowing that such conduct can easily trigger violent reactions and pose a serious breach of the peace. Honorable Governor, do you plead guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
Charge 3, forceful entry into the assembly precincts and mobilization of unlawful riots against members of the assembly. On or around 19th October 2022, the Governor and her husband, 1, grossly violated Articles 10, 73, and 75 of the Constitution. 2, grossly violated Sections 5 and 7 of the County Assembly's Powers and Privileges Act 2017. And 3, engaged in gross misconduct by A, forcefully entering the precincts of the Assembly, B, falsely accusing members of the Assembly and other elected leaders of cartelism, blackmail, greed, corruption, and intimidation. C, organizing a violent demonstration against the members of the Assembly at the Assembly precincts. And D, addressing a riotous crowd at the precincts of the Assembly. Honorable Governor, to that charge, do you plead guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
Charge 4, violation of the public finance management laws. On or around 6 September 2022, the Governor, 1, grossly violated Articles 201 and 207(1) of the Constitution, 2, grossly violated Sections 159 of the Public Finance Management Act 2022, 3, grossly violated Sections 12 and 24 of the Public Officer Ethics Act, 4, grossly violated Sections 16 and 35 of the Leadership and Integrity Act, 5, engaged in gross abuse of office by A, directing the Meru Teaching and Referral Hospital to spend all revenue at source, whereas all monies raised or received by or on behalf of the county should be paid into the County Revenue Fund. B, issuing waivers on fees at the Meru Teaching and Referral Hospital, whereas the County Executive Committee member for Finance is the only person legally empowered to grant such waivers. And C, directing county government officers to participate in furthering and advancing the interests of Baite TV, a media station owned by Mwangaza Advertising Limited, a private company owned by the Governor through her close proxies and relatives. Honorable Governor, to that charge, do you plead guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
The last charge, misconduct relating to nomination of County Executive Committee members. On or around the 8th day of November 2022, the Governor engaged in 1, gross misconduct, 2, grossly violated Articles 10, 73, and 75 of the Constitution, 3, grossly violated Section 10(1) of the Public Appointments, County Assemblies Approval Act 2017, and 4, grossly violated Sections 3, 4, 10, and 11 of the Meru County Retention Enhancement Fund Act 2016 by A, vilifying members of the Assembly for refusing to approve some County Executive Committee nominees at a public rally held at Kiangoi in Igoji West Ward. B, falsely accusing members of the Assembly of shortchanging Kasti Misheni and other nominees for the appointment to the CEC. C, illegally instructing Kasti Misheni to usurp the statutory functions of the Igoji West Ward Retention Enhancement Fund Committee by identifying the persons that would benefit from county bursary funds. D, failing to submit names of other candidates to the County Assembly for approval for appointment to the CEC after the Assembly rejected some nominees. E, reorganizing her government to 6 departments and 3 CEC members after the rejection of some nominees instead of submitting names of other candidates to the County Assembly for approval. And F, swearing to appoint to her government and actively work with the losers of the 2022 county elections instead of duly electing MCAs to star wrangles within the Assembly. Honorable Governor, do you plead guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
Chair and members, this is a verbatim recital of the charges as presented by the County Assembly.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, we thank you. You may now resume your seat. You be seated. Thank you very much. Honorable members, before we start listening to evidence, I would like us to do a bit of housekeeping. There might be preliminary issues that parties would wish to raise. This is the time. I therefore want to invite the County Assembly of Meru to raise preliminary issues, if any.
Honorable Chair and members, on behalf of the Assembly, we have no preliminary issue. We shall crave your leave to address any if they are raised by the other side.
It's granted. I now invite the Governor of Meru to raise preliminary issues, if any.
Thank you, Chairman. We have one preliminary issue by way of housekeeping. We were served with a motion of impeachment together with the witness statements. We discovered that some of the witness statements that were served on us at the Senate hearing were not part of the witness statements that featured before the County Assembly. It therefore became necessary, and to redeem time, we elected to, one, file a supplementary affidavit, which we have already filed and served on our counterparts. They have not raised any objection to our filing, so that to bring into perspective the case of the governor of Meru County. The other issue, we realized that in the bundle of the documents supporting the response of the governor, we had omitted 3 affidavits, which we have already supplied by way of the supplementary affidavit I've referred to. This is the supplementary affidavit sworn on 26th of December 2022. It was sworn by one Harrison Gatombu. Honorable Chairman, I would crave the leave of this court that you allow us to file that supplementary affidavit outside the stipulated time that was stipulated in our invitation, and the already filed and served supplementary affidavit to be deemed as properly filed and served. And Your Honorable Chairman, we are not going to dislocate any part of the hearing by allowing that supplementary affidavit, and we are not going to inconvenience this committee or our counterparts. We pray, Honorable Chairman, to allow us to admit that supplementary affidavit.
Thank you.
Chairman, I kindly seek you allow my learned friend, Mr. Mutuma, to raise something.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Additionally, we also realized that while we were trying to beat the deadline, we omitted to include one video that forms part of our record and evidence. That video is mentioned in our affidavit, but it was omitted. It was not uploaded in the flash disk. We have already supplied it through email to Council representing a County Assembly. We have also shared the same with the Secretariat. We beg that the same be admitted, and we are allowed to use the same. Thank you.
Welcome. Very well. Now, County Assembly, you've heard. Do you have anything to say?
Yes, Honorable Chair and Senators, we strenuously oppose that request because what they are trying to do is to bring evidence by way of ambush. The rules of this House are very clear. They were given an opportunity to file those documents. Why it is an ambush, Chair, they are asking you to allow them to put in 4 affidavits, 5 videos, and 3 exhibits. Why it is an ambush is we will spend the whole of today before you, and tomorrow is their day. When shall we have the time to study that additional material, and if necessary, file our response to it? So our ground number 1 for objection, Chair, is that it is an ambush. Number 2, ordinarily, because there is a quasi-judicial procedure, a party seeking to introduce new material must persuade you that the material in question could not, with due diligence, have been filed within the time given. And time permitting, I will show you why all the material they now seek to bring after the horse has bolted was material within their possession. It was material which, with due diligence, they would have brought in within the timelines. We are also telling you they have not been diligent, because on the record before you, this additional material, together with the material they have already placed before you within the time, is material that ought to have been placed in the first instance before the county assembly. On the record, the governor was given 7 days to file a response before the county assembly. She did not avail herself of that opportunity. So that as we speak, Chair, even the material filed on time, we are seeing it for the first time when, under the rules, that material ought to have been placed before the county assembly. It was not. Number 4, we are hoping we will persuade you that even when you read the proposed new material on its face, there is nothing in it that would justify the request now being made. And our 5th objection is that this is part of the ploy, Chair, knowing how packed and time-bound these proceedings are, to eat into so much of today's time through preliminary issues, knowing very well, of course, that the time to be eaten is the one my team would normally use. Chair, why do we raise all these things? They tell you casually they sent these things by email. What they don't tell you is that that email was sent at 5:24 p.m. yesterday. Yesterday was Boxing Day, but even if it were a working day, 5:24 p.m. As a matter of fact, Chair, we have only seen that email today morning while wrapping our bundles to come to today's session. And when we saw it, Chair, among the 5 things they're asking you to, one of the things we hope you'll note if you're familiar with the documents they hope to introduce, is that they are telling you in their proposed additional affidavit by Gatobu Mudhuri at paragraph 4, that these videos that they propose to introduce, they are videos they have edited. They tell you that in paragraph number 4, number 7, number 8, number 9, and number 10. He's telling you, I edited these videos by adding captions, and he's also admitting to you that the same captions he put are erroneous. That's why now he needs to put correct captions. The question, Chair, is, based on that deposition where the person requesting is already admitting to you in black and white that the reason they want to bring this new evidence is because they edited the videos they brought to you within time. So for that reason, Chair, we say that affidavit by Patrick Gatobu could not be admissible. There is another one by Harrison Gatobu. These are 2 Gatobus, Chair. It's a different person. One is Harrison, the other one is Patrick. He's telling you, when you read his affidavit, that he is the chief of staff of the governor, and that he is aware of all the allegations under charge number 1. He is aware of the circumstances, and therefore, he should be allowed to put in this additional affidavit. Chair, I urge you, like everyone in the room, to know that the person who would be competent to speak to county appointments is not the governor's chief of staff. It is the secretary of the county public service board. Failing that, it will be the county secretary. Elementary knowledge. So the man now purporting to ask you to introduce additional evidence by way of an affidavit is not the man in law who is qualified to speak to the matters he proposes to speak to. And of course, he goes on to tell you many other things. He tells you some documents were inadvertently omitted and whatnot and whatnot. Chair, if you go to that affidavit, they propose to put, it is by a gentleman called Edward Bundi Jeffrey. They are telling you the reason they want to put this document is because this gentleman put before you an affidavit that was not signed, an affidavit that was not commissioned by a commissioner for oaths, and because he forgot to do that, which is lack of due diligence, he's asking you, the committee should allow him. They have a further affidavit by a gentleman called Samuel Mwenda, same reasons, no ground given. The annexures they propose to put you, one of them is an annexure about an invitation letter, which is already in the governor's response as filed. So we don't know, and in any event, this annexure should have been put before the county assembly in the first instance. They had their whole 7 days to do that. They chose not to. Lastly, they propose to put before you a document that is 9 pages, which is the speech given by the governor on 19th October 2022. 19 October 2022 was about 6 weeks before the impeachment. So the governor was always in possession of that document. The million-dollar question is, why wasn't it put before the assembly? And why wasn't it put before you on time? For those very many reasons, Chair, and I really regret we are taking more of the time we should be doing the case, we beseech you that they have not laid out a good reason for the request they make before you. In the event, Chair, we are unable to persuade you to reject this request, in the event the House grants the request, we crave that you similarly allow us a request to also put our additional documents in response to this additional material, because at any rate, it's a trial. What is good for the goose should be good for the gander. Thank you, Chair.
Very well, you're most welcome. Allow me to allay your fears that the governor's team is eating into your time. No. We have carefully budgeted for time. There is time for preliminary, and we are still within that space.
Chair, with your permission.
Chair, a brief rejoinder, with your permission.
Yes, Governor.
Thank you, Chair, for the opportunity. The proceedings before you, Chair, are quasi-judicial in nature. The committee is sitting having the same powers as a court of law. And in doing that, the committee is called upon to uphold Article 49 and 50 of the Constitution by granting the governor, who is equivalent to an accused person, the right to a fair hearing. That right to a fair hearing, Honorable Chair, entails the right to produce any materials that she feels are necessary for the tribunal's consideration to assist in her defense. I do not know why the County Assembly is afraid of these materials being introduced, because they will assist in the tribunal reaching a fair hearing. It is only fair that all materials are presented before you. Honorable Chair, I have had an occasion to look at the standing orders and the rules governing these proceedings. Rule 20 bars the County Assembly from introducing any new material or evidence that was not previously relied upon during the impeachment proceedings at the County Assembly. My learned friend, Mr. Yankolu, Dr. Yankolu rather, has not denied that the 4 witness statements, one by DMK, the mover of the motion, another one by Mwenda Idhili, another one by Lucy Mokaria, and Father Elias Kenoti, were not presented during the impeachment motion at the County Assembly. So
yeah, that's a distortion of your rules. In the County Assembly, there is no room for witness statements. Those witness statements were filed before you pursuant to your standing orders requiring us to file the witness statements. So us being accused of sneaking in the witness statement is really unfair because we were only obeying the rules of the Senate. There are no similar rules at the County Assembly.
Council, don't run the risk of annoying members of this special committee. Be composed. Listen to your counterpart. When it's done, ask for time. We'll give you to respond.
I'm guided, Chair. I was only interjecting because that's how we do it in High Court. I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to disrespect the House. Maybe it's my lack of familiarity with your rules. My apologies, Chair.
Your apologies are accepted.
Thank you, Chair, for the protection. Rule 20, Honorable Chair, bars presentation of new evidence. Evidence can be by way of an affidavit or a witness being produced for the very first time. We have 4 new witnesses being presented before you today that did not form part of the proceedings at the County Assembly. We are interacting with their sentiments and their aversions for the very first time during these proceedings. It's only fair that the governor is given an opportunity to rebut to any information that is being introduced for the very first time. It is on that basis that we are seeking humbly to be allowed to put in an affidavit that has already been filed and served. Counsel is admitting that he has gone through the affidavit. In fact, he's even quoting the contents of that affidavit. There will be no prejudice of any kind if we are allowed to rely on that affidavit. On the video we are seeking to produce, it is actually mentioned in our affidavit. It forms part of our documents and materials to be relied upon, only that it was omitted to be uploaded inadvertently. It's only fair that we are given that opportunity, but my learned friend, Mr. Mwangi, has 1 or 2 issues that he wants to rebut on. Thank you, Chair.
Chair, my learned friend has addressed all the issues, save to give comfort to the Chair. The team for the County Assembly has clearly indicated they have gone through the evidentiary materials and they have found nothing in those materials. If there is nothing, then they should allow us to use the evidentiary materials that we have brought before this committee. Honorable Chair, aspersions have been cast on the merits of those affidavits. This is not the time. They wait for the hearing. The witnesses will be here for cross-examination. They will have their day, Your Honor. I honorably and humbly pray that you allow us to rely on those statements. Mistakes are always made, and human is to error. We inadvertently left out those materials, and when you look at the index in our bundle, we have referred to those affidavits. The fact that it was inadvertence, we should not be punished, Your Honor, for being human. We pray that you allow those affidavits. Thank you.
So, Counsel for the County Assembly, while you were speaking the first time, senators were not listening to you because you had not been given the mic. Now this is the time for you to respond, finally. And as you do, we would be happy if you could tell us if you are aware of Rule 20.
So, Chair, for your guidance, do you require me to repeat my entire objection as I put it?
No, okay. Just wrap up your issues. And we are keen to know whether you are aware of Rule 20.
Yes, Chair, there is a Rule 20. The Assembly shall not introduce any new evidence. The question, Chair, is whether they have showed which is the new evidence that we have introduced. It is easy to allege it, that we have introduced new evidence. What they should have been doing in their application is to tell you the specific items of evidence that we have sneaked in that therefore warrants their request. They tell you the basis of their request, Chair, is because we filed witness statements and they now need to respond to the matters in those witness statements. They need to tell you, without merely alleging it, which statement introduces which new evidence. Because we are allowed by Rule 7, paragraph C, to file the witness statements. And as I said, the witness statements would not have been filed but for the invitation we received from you requiring us specifically. So, Chair, they have to tell you, it's very easy to allege anything, but I would really be happy to hear from them. What is the specific item of new evidence? Because as far as we are concerned, we have not introduced even a shred of new evidence. It is easy to allege. Proving it is a different matter. And they can't get the request granted merely because they allege. They have to tell you in the witness statement of the father, in the witness statement of DMK, in the witness statement of Lucy and Mondaidili, the following matters, which were not before the Assembly or which are not in the impeachment motion, have been sneaked in. And that puts me, Chair, then in a disadvantage because I'm being asked to respond to a blanket accusation of sneaking new material without being told which is the new material. And there is no material attached to any of those witness statements, so I don't know where the claim comes from. All our evidence is attached to the impeachment motion, which was before the Assembly, and which they have always had. So which is this new other evidence? Unless they are saying the witness statement is the new evidence. Clearly that cannot be correct. Chair, we still urge you to decline this request. In the event you're unable to decline it, we equally request. Then allow us to also put on record our rejoinder, because it's the minimum we can ask in the circumstances. But then I have to warn everyone, we're in a time-bound proceeding. When you give me that time, unless now it is tomorrow, and unless today we adjourn early enough to enable my team to properly comb through all these 5 affidavits and these other material and put in our supplementary affidavits. It's just not fair, Chair, especially given all these things ought to have been put before the Assembly, and they were not, and no reason has been placed before you.
Chair.
Thank you very much.
With your permission, Chair.
Yes, Senator Sifuna, the Senator for Nairobi.
Chairman, I think there's a very straightforward decision to be made by this committee. This additional material, the additional, the affidavits, the supplementary affidavit, a video that was left out, the request from the governor is whether the committee can allow these things to form part of the record. And I believe that if you are going to execute your mandate as this committee, you should be in possession or in view of every single piece of documentation that will help this committee to unravel this question. Mr. Chair, I want to refer you to, and my learned colleagues on the other side, to Rule number 10, that in fact this committee may, at the request of the County Assembly or even the governor, invite or summon any person, that is new evidence, to appear and give evidence before this committee. That is, any person includes people who have not even submitted any affidavits today. So if because I've had references to certain people here, if we want to serve on, for instance, I don't know if there's an affidavit by the governor's husband, it is within the purview of this committee to be able to summon. So I don't think that the issues that are being raised by the Council for the Assembly really should be raised at this particular point. So the question of admissibility is a matter for the committee to determine. The question of whether the videos are edited or not, it is for us to determine, Mr. Chair. So I just wanted to give that guidance. And in fact, on the question of Rule 20, my learned colleague knows that when the rule talks about new evidence, it's talking about things that were not part of the matters that were submitted before the County Assembly. And because the County Assembly is a house of record just like the Senate, it is not difficult for us to decipher what is new and what was not new, Mr. Chair. That would just be my contribution.
Thank you. Colleagues, I think the Senator from Nairobi has spoken for many of you. This is a decision that we are not going to make in plenary. I want to allow parties to withdraw to your holding rooms for 15 minutes. You can enjoy your cup of tea. And when we come back, we are going to make a decision, councils, on these supplementary materials. If it is new evidence, we will categorize. If it is a question of just rearranging the videos that were brought and attached to this, again, we shall speak to it. And if it is something which is not admissible, Council for the County Assembly, sit most reassured. We would never, and Council for the Governor, we will not deny the Governor her right to be heard and her right to a fair defense. Thank you. We shall resume after 15 minutes.
Na riu nitwarikiriria mwaka wa 2022 ngoya ibinda riri gukwendithiria thiguku njega ya Christmas iyo ni irathimo. Rito riakwa ni Masi wa Dia wa Muriithi.
Shabiki.com inakuletea the first ever Premier League's jackpot in Kenya. Predict mechi 6 kutoka ligi kuu duniani kwa kutumia shilingi 8 tu uweze kushinda 100,000 shillings kila siku. 6 Premier League's games. Cheza na 8 ball. Shinda 100k daily. Tuma neno PJP kwa 29063 or visit shabiki.com to play. Not for persons under the age of 18. Betting can be addictive. Play responsibly. Shabiki.com is authorized and regulated by the BCLB. License number 416. Shabiki.com.
Iga ugima wa mwiri waku wega thiine wa uria ndagitari.
Losses ni tumaga andu magena wounds.
Ciumaga relationships itarathie uria kwagiriire.
5 kunogora mwiri waku. Mataro ma gwifacirira mirimo kuma kwi mandagitari.
Mwaka utathirite mutumia ni arwara shukari, ni arwara pressure.
Uthome njira cia kwimenyerera na guikaria mwiri waku wina hinya. Ndukahitũkwo nĩ tabarĩra ya ũria ndagĩtarĩ thĩinĩ wa View Sasa na ũbacĩrĩre ũgima wa mwĩrĩ waku wega.
kanitha wa CFF Donholm utongoretio ni Reverend Daniel na Pastor Lea Gitahi ni maragwetera kesha ya kurugia mwaka iria gakorwo Jacaranda Grounds Greenspan Estate mwena wa Donholm Nairobi tariki 31 mweri uyu kwambiriria thinacara cia hwaini ni urehoyo ugoka na turatathi twiri kamwe wandike mathina maria ugereire mwaka uyu na kau kangi wandike matanya maku ma mwaka mweru mutungatiri Gitahi ni agagutongoria kuhoera matanya maku ma mwaka wa 2023 udomwe na kwaria miario ya gukanja mathina na maruo ma mwaka uyu igongona riri rikamemerekio imwe kwemwe ceceni-ini ya All Time TV na ng'enda cia Facebook na YouTube cia Reverend Gitahi Daniel. Ni urenda kuhaka nyumba yaku rangi twike kirorerwa Muthokinjo Paints twiha ni undu waku twijorwa hari gutukania marangi makiria ma 10,000 niguo gukuhe ugemu wa mwanya oho ne twikaga house makeovers na tugakuhe motaro ma interior design hatari marihi thondeka weru mucii waku mambura maya ma Christmas na indo citu ta marangi indo cia kuhaka rangi thimiti na indo citu cia waterproofing cia kirathi kia iguru ukenere discounts cia magegania cerera ruhonge rwitu rweru keno kung'ethera Major Market kana ruhonge rwitu oruothe guothe bururi-ini kana utuhurire thimu 0790 022 ukenere delivery itari marihi. Muthokinjo Paints, building with you since 1995.
Stubborn dark marks? Stop. Discover the power of vitamin C with the new Garnier Even and Matte Booster Serum, a highly concentrated serum that deeply penetrates, clinically proven to reduce dark marks by 43%. Get even glowing skin from day 6. New Garnier Even and Matte Vitamin C Booster Serum by Garnier. Naturally.
Mabura maku ma thiguku ne magirithie makeria kenerera discounts cia magegania kuma gwa View Sasa na athiriti ayo wegwatire discounts cia nginyagia gicunje kia 50 hari igana hari indo itiganite kuma Pwani Oil, Unilever na Optica. Hora star 87 star 5 hash kana oscan QR code eno oreu wegwatire discount yaku na coupon hau redeem supermarket ini oyo the ya Naivas na matuka mangĩ maria maranyita itemi.
Murimu wa cancer ugiunyita tene no thijo kana heo dawa kana heo radiotherapy kana maundu macio mothe matatu na enino no mugicerero hanini rugo atuika ni kumenyihia murageria kumenyihia muone kana ni mukumenira no mugikinya handu ati ni theremire ni kinyire stage 4 iyo mutiehota kunina iyo ni kuhoreria kana kunyihia.
Farena urona haha niyo irekirora mine thirikari niyo etagwo na Nyuki Rumuruti Road. Ni tuthondekete mabara maya mothe tugekira maramu, tugekira marking fence, no gureka 5, no gureka 10, nigetha nawe ukigire kindu mucii wa Nanyuki.
DJ Kabnetwa Inoro TV.
Quiero